Hi, people of the world watching internet videos that have to do with cars. Welcome to this. My 1983 Datsun S130 280ZX, powered by the iconic L28E inline 6, which may be soon going home with one of you. I'll have some details on that later on in the video, but first I have to do this. Oh, that was loose. This is gonna be a fun one. That looks absolutely terrible, like someone painted it with a paintbrush. Oh, there's supposed to be little rubber grommets in those. Is it missing? Oh no, they're just stuck.
And that is the result of not disassembling before a repaint is done.
What you can't see on camera is that this car has been clearly resprayed once before, the original color. But so in this light, you can see what I was talking about. That there's like an obvious tape line at the top. This just looks terrible. Sand scratches everywhere. That's kind of neat. This is detachable. I think this is all fiberglass. It unscrews, but it's sealed in there. Well, I'm not gonna break it. Now, as you can see, these are two-toned, body color and satin black on the inside. And I've also seen these in all satin black. And I'll have to admit, they both look good, both directions. But this paint looks like poop. Before I fully commit to this, I gotta do a test. All right, we're gonna try this first, which is my mini DA and an interface pad, some 1500. This, just straight up water, just to the edge first. That is gonna make my microphone go crazy.
Because the polisher has Bluetooth.
Yep, that's single stage.
Which is not what I was hoping for.
Yeah, it's gonna burn through that so fast. Yeah, so what you're looking at is red rattle can on top of single stage. There's not much I can do to save that. I'm excited though, because I really wanted to do this anyway. Since this paint job is poop, we're gonna move on to plan B. 500.
500 what, douchebag?
It's good enough. This should get the job done. Disregard the fact that I have too big of a piece of paper. I could trim it down, but whatever, we'll let it flop.
Because this thing is made out of fiberglass, I can quickly get myself into a situation that I don't want to be in. I'm just simply trying to make this look better.
This would just be ridiculous. I can't do that.
This is a fine example of what happens when you just pay for a cheap paint job rather than a good paint job.
What the hell did someone do to this? Did they sand it with a rock? Do a red scotch to get in these corners here. It looks like someone seriously tried sanding this with a rock and then burying it under high build primer. It's smooth now that I sanded it out. This one's paint looks better than the other one, but there's still sand scratches and it was dry right here in the center, so you can see the orange peel changes. That's a lot better. It's a lot more even. There was some high and low spots in the red in the center. I got those out. You can't even see them anymore. How unprofessional of me. That's a mess. Now, had these not been previously repainted, possibly at a McDonald's, I would not be doing this right now. And this is my thought process. Louvers, all black. B-pillar louver, all black. Wiper cowl louver, all black. Interdimensional penguins, which I hear their voices in my head. This pungent stuff is wax and grease remover. Oh yeah, that smells like robot armpit sweat. I don't even know if robots have armpits. Here's to wasting a really good detailing brush. Out here in Nature's paint booth, giving this a good shake. This is a Body Shop grade trim black. It's about 105 degrees Fahrenheit outside right now, which is like, I don't know, 40-ish C. I can actually see just barely a little bit of sand scratch in the corner right there. Specimen number 2.
Whoever did the previous paint job on this really dug into this fiberglass, and it's gonna be hard to hide.
I have rubber grommets. I wonder if they're the same size. They're literally the same. These are the leftover rubber grommets from the fender flares in the Celica. Since I couldn't find any TDS instructions for color sanding with this stuff, I let it sit an hour to dry the touch. I'm gonna use a gray scotch to try to give it a little bit of color sanding. So I think that's gonna work. I did the whole thing just lightly, and I'm gonna use waterborne wax and grease. Can't put those on just yet because this is... Think of this is art class for automobiles. There's absolutely a risk when doing something like this on a used vehicle, especially one that's been repainted before. However, if you know what you're doing, and especially if you've painted a vehicle yourself before, there can be a massive reward in the end result, and it doesn't cost much. Dual action buffer, DA, hook and loop interface pad. I'm actually gonna start with a 2000 grit. I'm using cheap sandpaper, but I do have some high-end stuff if this doesn't do the job well. It's also smart to start in an inconspicuous area, like the center front of the hood, where no one will notice if you screw up.
Obviously that was satirical. If you watch this channel long enough, you know me and sanding go together like lamb and tuna fish.
All right, there we go, that's better. Again, sticking with the cheap paper, skipping 25, going straight to 3, see if I can get away with it. If I can get away with using the cheap paper, that'll be great, because the other stuff is insanely expensive. Rotary polisher, foam pad.
Just like the quality of the person doing the paint job, the quality of the materials that you use for prep and the actual paint make a huge difference as well.
Now, I presume this does not have top shelf high-end paint like I used on the Celica, but the same principle applies here. I'm seeing pigtails from using cheap quality sandpaper. So it just requires more time to get it perfect. So high-end paper, made in Japan, just like the car. A little foam interface pad. This can be used wet or dry. Same thing I did on the Celica. This is a 25. I'm kind of bridging the gap, hoping that I can get most of the 2000 pigtails out. Now this stuff cuts way faster. Yep, that looks good. Yeah, leaps and bounds better. Also, I'm not trying to make this paint perfect. This paint will never be perfect unless the entire car got stripped to bare metal and resprayed from scratch. I don't have that kind of time or budget.
As many of you probably already learned from watching my previous build series on the Celica, or even as far back as my MR2, you probably already know that properly wet sanding and polishing out a car is an astronomically time-consuming process, and I'm not doing nearly as good of a job on this as I did on the Celica. So the next morning, I got straight to work.
I was able to knock out 60% of this hood with one piece of high-end sandpaper, whereas the cheap stuff, it would have used several to do all that. So it's more expensive, but you get more out of the paper. It kind of evens out.
Now another thing that I didn't film, you're probably wondering, is how I gauge how much clear coat I actually have here to work with. And I do have a paint depth gauge, but that only tells me so much of the story because I don't really know what's under this other than the fact I know it was repainted once.
Let's go. Let's make this shiny.
Am I cutting some corners? Am I cut and buff? Yes, but also the person that painted this car cut some corners. So 2 cut corners make a shiny round object. So always remember that.
I want to try to knock this whole thing out in one video, so I phoned in some reinforcement so we can split the car down the sides. Oh, I just threw that on the ground. These things are like crepes for baby robots. I say stupid things. One of the. All right, he can take care of one side. I'll take care of the other side.
I don't know what they were using, 80 grit or 40 grit to...
Oh yeah, this paint looks like it was painted with a house brush. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there is overspray from something right there. Unfortunately, these little rub moldings are riveted into the side of the car, or else I would remove them. I'm not a fan of these because there's still door dings on the vehicle, so it's not like they even help. This thing's rubber feels pretty soft still, that's what he said. So I think this will come off in one piece. You can see the tape line right here is where this was masked off when they resprayed the car. I'm obsessed with how chunky these tires are. That's attractive. I'm continuing with my methodology on the driver's side. Angel is trying a different approach, is doing 3,000 first and then seeing what it looks like, and then any areas that need the attention of 2,500, hitting those areas up, which may actually be more efficient.
Yeah, I do like how this one's coming out. It's all very uniform.
Well, I'm not entirely sure what mythological horses with pointy objects on their face have to do with polishing a car. I do kind of get the idea of what he's saying, and I concur.
There's a really big scuff right here from something.
Since some of the defects are through the clear and base, I can only make this thing look as good as possible, which kind of adds to the survivor element of the car.
The only thing is, this thing gets clogged fast. You can see how it's just like packed with dust. There's deep sand scratches underneath right here that's been shrunk back into with the clear. That's gonna require 2,500, but yeah, you can literally cut the shrink back out. And then right here, if you see all the little stippling, that is when it's sprayed too dry, like they pass the gun over too quickly, or also the setting for the air, the amount of air to paint ratio will cause that. But by wet sanding over it, you just bring the paint down a little bit and it hides that completely. It removes it. Look, it's like razor burn. It's so bad.
Oh yeah, that's really dry. That wouldn't have come out with a 3K.
No, I just literally just dragged the dust up into it, like, so I didn't sand it, and then it filled in and I was like, oh, there's a sand scratch. Yeah, my little ghetto guide coat. It's like the lizard from the insurance ghetto guy coat. I feel like they painted this with a ketchup bottle. They like stuck a ketchup bottle between their thighs and just went and shot the paint all over the side of the car. The sand scratches above the door handle on this thing are so bad, it looks like they sanded it with Groot's rocky friend, I forgot his name's ass cheek. It's like a crackhead chewed on a brick and then licked the door. Yeah, this will only take a couple passes right here. Right here, you can see all those sand scratches that have shrink back in them. Couple passes and I'm done.
Stripping a car down to bare metal and repainting it from scratch is satisfying, but it's even more satisfying seeing what you can do with very little money on an old car's paint job and how good you can possibly make it look. Now, at the time of recording this video, I'm getting down to the last few weeks of the giveaway on this 280ZX, which there is no purchase necessary to enter or win. The full rules are listed on my website, sarentune.com, where you can also subsequently go to purchase RoboBubble detailing products, my very own brand, as well as merchandise, which helps subsequently support this channel in videos like this.
So yesterday, having Angel here for the afternoon to help out literally saved me an entire day's worth of work. So that was a game changer. However, there's something else that has been bothering me. And as much as I love louvers, the paint job on these is absolutely atrocious. Somebody spray painted over this rubber trim and years later, it's still tacky enough that dust and fingerprints stick to it. I guess I preemptively taped this. I shouldn't have. Why are these always so poorly installed on cars? There you go. Got it. I gotta take something off of this car that's body color. That's got a bunch of shit that holds it in. These guys, why is this so difficult? Ah, there's screws right there. This is not a restoration. Why does everything I do turn into a restoration? Why can't it just be good? This should just pop off. Of course it won't, because why would Nissan make it that easy? There's gonna be 10 other pieces of hardware holding it in. Success, it's just a pop clip. And now I have a body color sample removed. Well, it's good to see that there's no rust under here. You know what transforms these cars drastically? Doing a different front bumper on them. You know what's impossible to find? Good quality aftermarket front bumpers.
Not that it really matters, because visually all this needed was a set of wheels and a drop.
So what holds the marker light in? A tiny nut. I wonder if 100 years from now, a robot person will watch this video and use it as a tutorial to work on their 100-plus-year-old Datsun Z car. Ta-da! I'm like winding up all the spider webs on the screwdriver and, oh, gross. Oh, it's got butyl holding it on. Okay. So at this point, you're probably wondering why I'm tearing the nose of the car off. No, you're not. You probably don't question it. If you watch enough of these videos, you just know that I'm psychotic and I take everything apart. Take note at this bracket that holds the corner bumper cap on. Notice how far away it is from the top right here. It's kind of bent downwards. Now look at the one on the driver's side. It is a lot closer right here, and the bumper cap fits straight. Well, if you see, there's a big dent in this corner piece right here. It's actually starting to look more like a 280Z than a 280ZX, this bumper off. I'm gonna take this guy off. I love that there's giant screws. it screws up here. That's seriously the best invention ever, a hammer screwdriver. Whoever invented that is genius. And now that's free. What is that? Ew, it's a dead caterpillar. Oh no, that's like a piece of pine cone. Haha! Oh yeah, that's all it needed was a wipe down. That's wild.
The fact that there is still rubber butyl behind the bumper cover leads me to believe it's probably never been off before in 42 years. I was kind of surprised by that.
This was a janky paint job, and it literally, I can't believe how that came out. Granted, the bodywork's not the most flawless, but man, is that glossy.
With the remainder of the afternoon and evening, I finished up the leftover polishing I had from before, and also the next morning I started with a fresh wash job to remove any of the wet sanding debris and dust from polishing it before I could complete the job.
My main objective was to get all of this knocked out in one video, and while I successfully got all of the paint correction knocked out, which made the biggest difference in the look of this car, this doesn't even have wax on it. This is literally just polished bare surface. Since this is a car from the 1980s, I decided to coat it with a carnauba. Oh, it smells so good. Wait for this to get a nice haze on it. Wow, that just melts like eating a piece of tasty, delicious food. This right here is what I would call a good daily driver, 42-year-old unrestored car paint job. Well, it kind of did its job. Let's slap these bad chickens on there and see what it looks like. I have a feeling this is gonna look pretty good, actually. Oh yeah, that was the right move. It breaks up the hood and gives it more dimension and just depth to it. For those of you that preferred the look of the two-tone red and black on these vents, this is a win-win, because either way, to properly restore these vents, you would have to have done exactly what I just did, and then now you would mask off the slats that are black and spray the red over the top. That's the correct way to restore these.
I accidentally discovered how neat it looks to park cars underneath the LED lights in my four-post, so I'm taking advantage of this.
As far as a 10-footer goes, that'd be a 10 out of 10. It's so much better than what I started with, for considering this is not restored. And the vents, I think that looks way, way better. It flows with the vent and the windshield. In the next video, I got new body panels for the lower air dams since they were damaged. The red is slightly different than the car, so I'm gonna respray these, put them on the vehicle, take care of the louvers, and then I got the rest of the sensors in I needed to hopefully correct the little EFI cold start issue so this thing runs good. So yeah, like I said, there's only a couple more videos to go on this thing, and then I'm going to be introducing my next full restoration series, which is on the same level of the Celica work-wise. It's gonna be a bare metal resto and going all out on it. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you soon with another video. Bye.